this day's the day. Bad luck's always coming my way.
For today's Grimm adventure, we find ourselves in Beverly Hills, California. Right now we are standing in front of what's known as the Witch House here in Beverly Hills. And the reason we are here is because this house shows up very briefly in the movie Clueless. And we are here because today's topic, today's video, is all on the life and death of actress Brittany Murphy. Now, I mentioned Brittany Murphy in the movie Clueless because that's probably what she's mostly known for.
That's so as if.
But not on this channel. You see, Brittany Murphy has also done a few spooky movies, if you will. One of them being Freeway, which is amazing. The other one being, well, I consider it kind of spooky, Girl Interrupted.
I think that qualifies. I think it's a lot of our favorites from that era.
And she was also in Just Married with Ashton Kutcher.
So cute.
Now, I'm sure you've probably seen pictures of this house online. If you've ever been here in person, it is absolutely breathtaking, and it is a private house. It is a private home. This is the mailbox. Now, baby Ghoul, for this occasion, for Brittany Murphy, for the movie Clueless, you decided to add a creepy spin on Clueless. Go ahead and give a twirl. I am loving this.
This is my 90s goth version, 90s goth day.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, just a quick heads up, Jessica loves coming and visiting this house because a lot of people go out and they smell flowers. Jessica, she smells and hugs pumpkins. Now, the Witch House here in Beverly Hills is just a small stop on our journey. From here, we're gonna head over to the house where Brittany Murphy and her husband were living in Hollywood. And then from there, we're gonna go to where they're both buried right next to each other.
Hollywood is mourning the loss of Brittany Murphy this morning. The 32-year-old actress died on Sunday from what officials say appear to be natural causes. An autopsy is planned, reportedly against the wishes of her husband. CBS News correspondent John Blackstone has this report.
Detectives with the Los Angeles Police Department launched their investigation at Brittany Murphy's home as paparazzi camped outside. Murphy collapsed here early Sunday. One neighbor witnessed the desperate measures by paramedics to save her.
She was laying on the gurney. It looked like she had died, and they were putting tubes in her throat and trying to resuscitate her with paddles. And then her husband was here just wandering around and in his pajama bottoms, just looking completely dazed and shocked.
The actress, just 32, was found in full cardiac arrest and transported to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. The official cause of death may not be known for weeks.
The final results will be pending toxicology and further tests.
Right now we're walking up a street known as Rising Glen here in the Hollywood Hills. And we're making our way up to 1895, which is the house where Brittany Murphy was living the time that she died. Now here's the thing, the house is no longer there. It's been torn down, but we're going to talk about it and talk about some of the mysterious, strange things that happened in the house on this road. Now before we start talking about Brittany Murphy and what happened to her on this road, we got to backtrack a little bit. You see, she bought the house from Britney Spears. She was living here, and there's an odd story of Britney Spears saying that she believed that this place was haunted, and she couldn't be here much longer. It actually scared her so much, or it bothered her so much, that she actually left and went to go stay at a hotel. Now, when Brittany Murphy bought this place, she actually bought it fully furnished, and then her and her husband and her mother moved in. Now, before we go any further, I want to point out that the house that now stands where Brittany Murphy's house used to stand is that one right there. It has that contemporary look to it. It's massive. It looks small, but it is massive. And some people online, depending on who you talk to, say that they completely bulldozed the house and the land and they rebuilt it. And other people say that there's like one wall still standing, but just know this, it is not the same house that her and her husband and her mother were living in. It's actually a rather steep hill all the way up here at the top of Rising Glen. But we are finally here at 1895 Rising Glen. There's a sign that says, warning, registered gun owner. Now, even though they completely rebuilt the house and they did a lot of renovations, the driveway here, which is to the left, you can see 1899 to your right, but this driveway that's to the left, the wall, the retaining wall, is still, for the most part, the same. I got to back up so you can take it all in. You can see it up there on the hill. Well hidden like every other Hollywood house. Now, baby girl, you have to remember that even if the original house was still standing there, you really couldn't see it unless you had like a really good vantage point. And you were saying that, I mean, you have to remember that these houses were built for privacy, and this is a perfect example of it. So what happened here at 1895 Rising Glen in Hollywood? Well, on the night of December 20th, 2009, just a few days before Christmas, Brittany Murphy was in this house. She was 32 years old and she was sick. She had pneumonia and the symptoms were really, really bad. And she was taking pretty much any medication that she possibly could to help alleviate the symptoms. Now, if you're watching this and you have ever been sick with the flu or pneumonia, just like me, you probably stay at home and you take whatever you can, get some rest, maybe take a nice warm shower, and you think you're gonna make it through it. But there's a lot of factors that kept Brittany Murphy from getting healthy. And looking back, she should have went to the hospital, but she didn't. On December 20th, Brittany Murphy's sickness, the pneumonia, was really setting in, and it was at its worst, and she was finding it really hard to breathe. In fact, she collapsed in her mother's arms in the bathroom of the house, and she said, "Mommy, I'm dying. I can't breathe." Now, what I always found interesting about this, the bathroom, whenever Brittany Murphy was in this house, her husband says she was always in the bathroom. It was her safe place. She would go in there, she would sing, she would write poetry, she would do her makeup. And when she was here, that was the only place she wanted to be because the rest of the house made her feel uncomfortable. And it kind of echoes a little bit as to what Britney Spears was saying. December 20th, Brittany Murphy dies from pneumonia, anemia, and her body is completely filled with all kinds of medicine to help fight the sickness, but it ultimately killed her. Now here's where things start to get strange, if they weren't strange enough. 5 months, almost to the day, if not to the day, Brittany's husband, Simon, dies in this house, in the bedroom connected to the bathroom, in almost the same exact way as Brittany. Pneumonia, anemia.
Well, some would say that Simon Monjack was best known simply for being married to Brittany Murphy. Now he has followed her into death in an eerily similar way.
It was a marriage between a fading young star and an unknown screenwriter with a checkered past. Now, just 5 months after Brittany Murphy's tragic death from pneumonia and drug intoxication, her husband, Simon Monjack, has also died. The 39-year-old was found unconscious Sunday night in the same Hollywood Hills home where Murphy had gone into cardiac arrest December 20th. Ironically, Brittany Murphy's mother, Sharon, discovered the bodies of both her daughter and her son-in-law.
I remember when this happened, we were all very shocked. And the attention that I recall immediately was fingered at her husband saying, "You did it. Why did you do it?" And then he died and people went, "Oh, we were wrong." So basically there were autopsies. The autopsies were identical and they left it at that, no further testing, and nobody ever got any answers.
Now, also black mold, or the thought that black mold was in this house, played a big part in it.
At one time, I think their mother did sue the home builders on that accusation, and nothing ever became of that either.
And you know, that would also explain why the house was completely renovated or torn down and rebuilt.
Absolutely. If there is black mold present, there's nothing you can do.
We now find ourselves at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in the Hollywood Hills. And this is where you'll find the final resting place of actress Brittany Murphy and her husband Simon. In fact, right here is their final resting place. This is one of those moments where it's sad, but it's also nice. I mean, like the tombstone is nice. Beautiful spot here in the cemetery. It says, Brittany Murphy Monjack, November 10th, 1977 to December 20th, 2009. She was 32 years old. Our precious daughter, wife, an angel to all. Whenever I think of Brittany Murphy, the first thing that comes to mind is her smile. Like, it was bright. Big, beautiful smile. And there it is right there. And right next to her is her husband, Simon Mark Monjack, March 9th, 1970 to May 23rd, 2010. Beloved son, husband, father, Renaissance man, and all that jazz. I say that all the time, all that jazz. So here's a photo of Brittany and Simon together. And then here for eternity, right next to each other. Nice, simple stones in a very beautiful cemetery here in Hollywood. Now, baby goal. Seeing that picture, it made me realize that the first thing I think of whenever I think of Brittany Murphy is her smile. What about you?
I was always kind of hypnotized by her eyes.
Yeah?
She had these very deep chocolate, very soulful eyes, like she understood you, or she could understand any pain that you might be going through. But yeah, her smile was so infectious. She was one of those characters that when she smiled or laughed on screen, I would usually smile or laugh because it was like so, I don't know, just pure and like innocent, childlike, all the above. It was just radiant.
Now, I know a lot of people love Clueless, and Clueless is a great movie, but I think my favorite movie that she was in was Girl Interrupted. Do you have a favorite? I mean, you're dressed like the spooky Clueless today. Would you say Clueless is your favorite?
I think Clueless was what I knew her from first, so it's always going to be iconic, but she was really good at playing someone who we would now call mentally disturbed or troubled. So seeing her play those dark characters, you always just kind of wanted to like give her a hug. But she's just that good of an actress. She can make it so believable. And I think, yeah, Girl Interrupted, for its time, it was like the it film.
Right.
When it came out. And it's made a lasting impression ever since.
When we first moved to Hollywood, California, I think one of the very first things we did was come here to the cemetery and visit her grave. And we've been here for a couple years now. And this is a video that we've been wanting to do for quite some time. It's just the moment never felt right. You know, whenever we do these videos, we always kind of base what we do on how we're feeling. And for some reason lately, Brittany Murphy's really just kind of, yeah, it's just kind of like been channeling it.
Yeah. The love is still there.
Yeah. With that being said, thank you for joining us on another Grimm adventure, this time telling the story of Brittany Murphy. Until next time, happy Halloween.
Wherever I come, bad luck is coming my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. A bad luck's always a call.